Senate Joint Resolution 18 nullifies a rule finalized by the Biden administration in December of 2024. That'd be roughly 4 months ago. That attempts to cap overdraft fees. Overdraft fees are a necessary evil that I believe in most cases actually help the consumer. Now, I understand nobody wants to pay it, but transparency is certainly helpful for consumers on an issue like this, and I'm not sure these caps are the way to go. Traditionally, things like overdraft fees are regulated by state regulators. It is unclear whether the Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, can do this rulemaking under its cited authority in the Truth in Lending Act.
Who wrote these Republican bills? A Wall Street lobbyist? You know, one of them is literally about letting big banks raise their fees. Who the hell asked for that? The CEO of Goldman Sachs? I mean, people are getting screwed by big banks, by Bank of America, by Morgan Stanley, by Wells Fargo. This is about whose side you're on. Republicans, at least these guys are upfront about it, they want to help Wall Street. Democrats fought to make sure overdraft fees are capped at $5. And these guys come down here with a straight face telling America what? That letting banks raise fees is a good thing. I mean, Republican math is that higher fees are good for you. Really? I mean, you know, that somehow we all should want to pay more fees to big banks? I mean, is this a joke? Is this a bad joke?
This bill limits the ability of district court judges, that's U.S. district court judges, from issuing nationwide injunctions. I'd like to be clear. This bill does not prohibit nationwide injunctions, Mr. Speaker. It merely establishes a mechanism to issue nationwide injunctions under appropriate circumstances. Under the bill, if two separate states from two separate judicial circuits, U.S. judicial circuits, are reviewing the same case, a panel of three randomly chosen judges would be convened to determine whether issuing a nationwide injunction is appropriate action. These injunctions would then have the ability to be appealed directly to the United States Supreme Court. I believe that no one district court judge in the United States, anywhere, whether it be the Western District of Virginia, the Northern District of West Virginia, or one of the districts in California, or anywhere else in the country, should have the ability to make nationwide decisions as a district court judge. Also included in this rule is H.R. 22, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, or the SAVE Act, championed by Rep. Roy from Texas. This bill prohibits non-citizens from voting. Let me restate that, Mr. Speaker. The bill prohibits non-citizens, let me get that through because there's been some confusion. It prohibits non-citizens from voting. It does so by requiring states to obtain proof of citizenship when registering individuals to vote in federal elections. Even though most states prohibit non-citizens from voting in their elections, these non-citizens are still registered to vote in some states and in some cities around the country. Senate Joint Resolution 28 nullifies another Biden administration rule that was finalized in December 2024 as well, that would create burdensome regulatory requirements for certain non-bank digital payments and digital wallet companies. This rule expands CFPB's regulatory power and was another attempt by the Biden administration to rush a rule out of the door for the CFPB after President Trump had been elected, but before the new administration had the ability to have any input or consultation on how to carry out a public rulemaking process. I'm concerned this will cut down on people's use of innovative money transfer apps. All four of these legislative items are steps in the right direction to cut down on red tape, ensure fair elections, and restore the balance of checks and balances in our country. I urge passage of the rule to allow the House to debate the underlying bills, and I reserve the remainder of my time.
The gentleman from Virginia reserves. The gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the gentleman from Virginia for yielding me the customary 30 minutes, and I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Recognized.
Mr. Speaker, there's an awful lot of stuff in this rule before us, but let's be clear about one thing that's happening with this rule today, and that is Republican leadership is trying to overturn the democratic process of majority rule. 218 members of this House, a majority of us, signed a petition from Congresswoman Luna, who's a Republican, allowing new moms and dads to vote remotely in Congress. And when 218 of us sign a petition, the House rules say it can be brought up for a vote. But a backdoor provision slipped into this rule is being used to shut down that process, an unprecedented step. Literally, it has never been done before in the history of the House. Never. So if you sign Representative Luna's discharge petition, if you agree it deserves a vote, if you agree that a majority of the House should have the ability to bring up legislation through the discharge process, then you have to vote no on this rule. It is that simple. Let's go back to the drawing board, drop this provision. And by the way, this isn't remote voting for everyone. It's very simply about giving new parents the option to vote remotely if they so choose. That's it. That's what the Republican leadership is killing. This next measure that they have in this rule lets big tech off the hook when people get ripped off. I mean, did Elon Musk write this one? These guys are coming down here with a straight face and telling us that big tech needs less regulation, that they need less oversight. Is this an April Fool's Day joke? Here's the contrast. Democrats, we actually fought to make sure big tech is held accountable when things go wrong on Apple Pay, Cash App, or Zelle, when people are hacked, scammed, or defrauded. And what do Republicans want to do? They want to let big tech off the hook. You lose money? Too bad. Your data gets sold? Too bad. Whose side are Republicans on? I'll tell you this, not yours. Maybe for April Fool's Day, they could really change things up and actually stand up for working people. I mean, there's a crazy idea. But we have another bill to block nationwide injunctions when the government breaks the law. Here's a better idea. Why don't Republicans call up Donald Trump and tell him to stop breaking the law? What an idea. And of course, it's a day that ends in Y, so Republicans are bringing to the floor a bill to take away people's voting rights. Get this, if you're a woman who changed her name after marriage, you will now need a certified birth certificate. But if your name is different than on that birth certificate, you're going to have to come up with a whole bunch more documentation. Some of it will be costly. I mean, only Republicans would think, voter disenfranchisement is somehow a good idea. But this is all about making it more difficult for American citizens to vote. That's the real fraud. I mean, Donald Trump actually had a commission on voter fraud, and he disbanded it because he couldn't find any. Republicans are defrauding American voters by making it more difficult to register. I mean, this stuff is right out of the authoritarian playbook, straight from China, Russia, or Iran. Republicans are acting like they are above the law, putting the rich and powerful first, undermining an independent judiciary, undermining the right to vote. This is the road to authoritarianism, Mr. Speaker. Republicans are putting us in the fast lane to a dictatorship. And you can be damn sure that I'm not going to be silent, and people on this side are not going to be silent. I'm going to fight against these bills. I'm going to fight to protect and uphold our democracy. And I urge my colleagues here, both Democrats and Republicans, to vote no on this rule. And with that, I reserve my time.